Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, December 8th, 2016. I'm Keith Tebow. This week we provide an update on the construction project in connection with a new Durfee High School. We give details about Mayor Correa's solution to residents' complaints about an apparent shortage of large purple trash bags for sale at area stores. And we highlight a recent robotics program held at Bristol Community College. But first, let's go through the headline issues of the week. We bring in Will Richmond, the digital news editor at the Fall River Herald News. Will, how are you?
I'm good, Keith. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Let's talk about the issue we actually talked about last week. Last week, we mentioned that the city of Fall River had announced a new slogan as part of a marketing and branding campaign called Make It Here. And shortly after that was announced, people started looking around and finding that Make It Here is not just exclusive in terms of a slogan for the city of Fall River. And the Herald News today has an article up about how a pretty large national, international bank also uses that slogan. Fill people in about that issue and how it could impact Fall River's Make It Here slogan going forward.
Yeah, so it looks like the banking credit card company Citibank had put Make It Here to use a couple years ago, trademarking a logo that to go along with the slogan as well. So at this point, it doesn't look like it should have much of an impact on Fall River's use of the slogan Make It Here, according to what a company spokesman told us in looking into this. They would be fine with it as long as it doesn't infringe on banking or related activities. So the city is still free to use it as a sort of marketing slogan for the city. So that may be safe, but at the same time, the mayor's office and Mayor Correa told us that while Make It Here is sort of the slogan that was unveiled to the city council recently, that's not completely set in stone, that is what will be used going forward. So we'll have to see what happens, but at least in terms of usage, they do seem to be in the clear, even though it's been used in the past.
Did you, in speaking with the outside firm that's designing the city's marketing plan and branding plan, did they know of Citibank before this? And if they did, why maybe wasn't it disclosed in some way? Because you would think that we would find this out eventually, that there's a large institution as early as this spring using the slogan Make It Here.
Yeah, it didn't seem as though that they had started doing the process of vetting any previous usage of the slogan, and I think that may lend itself to part of the reason why they were saying the final determination on what the slogan was going to be was not fully completed yet. So they had not started looking into it, but at the same time they're saying it could change. So the whole process may still be in the sort of finalization aspect at this time frame.
So there is still a possibility that Make It Here may not make it here in Fall River.
There is that possibility, but I would probably put my money on them moving forward with it.
Yeah. Okay. And of course, the mayor's already announced that they're looking to do some sort of a larger event in terms of unveiling a logo and a plan on how to use the Make It Here slogan in January. So that's next month. So we'll wait and see to see what happens as the city continues to move forward on its slogan of Make It Here. All right. Also today, in today's online version of the paper, the Herald News, you have announced that the city's Park Commission has announced that they are going to be creating a subcommittee to look at the issues surrounding the Fall River cemeteries. As many people know, we've talked about in depth here how the cemetery department, as part of the city of Fall River, is being criticized for the removal of not only some temporary displays put there by family members, but also some more permanent displays. And there's a subcommittee that has been created to look into how to deal with this going forward. Give us an update on that.
Yeah, so the subcommittee is being formed after the Parks Commission received a report from the Friends of Oak Grove Cemetery and reported out on it during Wednesday night's park board meeting, one of those recommendations was the subcommittee that would kind of take a more focused look at the city's cemeteries, and this is not just exclusive to Oak Grove,
Right.
but other sites in the city. So that's the plan going forward. The park board continued to stress, though, that public input is important in this process going forward, and as the subcommittee kind of takes that very narrow look at just cemeteries within the park board's purview, that they still want the public to come out. They don't consider this issue to be over, even though the complaints have certainly come. Hopefully the lessons have been learned from the clearing of Oak Grove this year, and but they still want people to come in and help inform what the future regulations may be for the city's cemeteries.
Any indication on when the subcommittee will begin its work?
There was no indication. I think they still are in the process. They'll need to form the committee still. To my knowledge, the members had not been assigned at this point, and since they had just received and were reporting on the report from the Friends of Oak Grove Cemetery last night. So, you know, I think they'll be picking up on that report, the recommendations that were in there, and kind of moving forward in their next couple meetings.
All right. And finally this week, you know, as part of December, as we get closer to the end of the year, we start looking back at what happened earlier this year in terms of 2016. We'll be having a program the last week of the year looking back at FRCmedia news in 2016. And you at the Herald have been periodically putting articles in the paper about the Newsmakers of the year 2016. Talk about that project. How were these newsmakers chosen? And will there be one Newsmaker of the year toward the end of the month?
Yeah, so this week we've been placing our nominees for Newsmaker of the Year online and in the paper. The way we've done this is the second year that we've used this process. We ask all members of our staff to submit nominees, and these can come from our reporters, our photographers, copy editors, you know, basically anyone involved with the news product here, to just submit their nominee for Newsmaker of the Year and a short write-up as to why they believe that person, that group, the event should be selected. So we had 15 nominees this year. We've been running 3 a day online between Monday and Friday, and in print between Tuesday and Saturday. And then what we'll do is we'll have a poll up online once all of the nominees are released. We'll ask the public to weigh in on their selection for the Newsmaker of the Year, and at the end we'll unveil a People's Choice Newsmaker of the Year and the Herald News Newsmaker of the Year as well, which will be determined by a internal staff vote. And you know, and then we'll unveil those as we're sort of in that time frame similar to you between Christmas and New Year's.
Right. Now refresh my memory. How did that turn out last year? You said this is the second year. Who was the Newsmaker last year in terms of the People and the Herald News? Were they the same?
Last year it was the same. Last year it was Nellie Eaton, and I think, you know, that was a very overwhelming selection. But both the People's Choice and the Herald News staff choice was the same. You know, looking back at Nellie and the sort of influence she had on the community. So. So we'll see if it's the same choice again this year.
You know, it's very interesting. You know, we work in news. We work on a day-to-day basis, hour-to-hour basis as things happen. And when things are done, you kind of move on to the next thing. But when you reflect on everything that happens, and we're in the process of doing that now, there's always quite a bit that happens in the course of a year that sometimes we forget some of them. Oh, yeah, we should include this story or that story. And that's what makes the end of the year review really worthwhile, is that you can look back and see that how much has been accomplished in terms of news issues over the past year. All right, well, what's coming up at the paper over the next few days?
Well, certainly speaking of year in review type of things, on Sunday's paper, we'll begin our sort of semi-regular look back at Mayor Jazel Correa's first year in office, some of his campaign promises, how they've played out so far, some of the things he said on the campaign trail and during debates, and how they may compare to how he's governing and how that's going. And you know, we'll wrap up the nominees for Newsmaker of the Year as well. So yeah, we're certainly in that year-end wrap-up mode heading towards January right now.
Absolutely. Okay, well, thanks a lot. We'll talk again next week.
All right, have a good weekend, Keith.
We'll have more FRCmedia news right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot job list from the Fall River Career Center. Operations Manager. Amazon is seeking a full-time operations manager to lead and supervise a team of managers within operations at the Amazon Fulfillment Center. Direct management experience with excellent communication skills are required. Job number 822-1528. Food Service Specialist. Charlton Memorial Hospital is in need of a part-time food service specialist to perform diversified duties related to food storage, stock levels in kitchens and kiosks of nursing units and outpatient clinics. ServSafe certification and food handler's license required. Job number 823-4229. Early Head Start Home Visitor Associate. Citizens for Citizens Incorporated is actively seeking an Early Head Start Home Visitor Associate to work with families developing relationships to promote prenatal development in their own homes. A valid Massachusetts driver's license is required. Job number 823-4697. Charlton Memorial Hospital is looking to fulfill the following positions. Laboratory Assistant. Job number 823-4231. Diet Office Specialist. Job number 823-4668. Nursing Assistant. Job number 823-4710. Pharmacy Technician. Job number 823-4406. For more information on these or other positions, visit FRCmedianews.org or call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. The Fall River School Department is close to hiring a designer to provide a feasibility study that will recommend the city either build a brand new Durfee High School or remodel the current structure on Ellsbury Street. We get an update from the city's Director of Buildings and Grounds, Ken Pacheco.
The feasibility study is moving forward. We've done the initial interview where we've narrowed it from 11 down to four finalists. And we will be heading to Boston on the 20th to the MSBA office to do interviews. Each interview will probably be about an hour long. And the company has a presentation for us, probably a 20-25 minute presentation. They can use whatever props they'd like. Some will make models of what they think the new Durfee High School is going to look like, where it's going to be located, because right now we don't know. You know, Ellsbury Street is probably the preferred site, but there may be somewhere else in the city that works, and it may be cheaper. We don't know that. So the feasibility part of this is what that's all about.
Pacheco adds that there are about 5 options that will come out of the feasibility study, but the bottom line on the final design decision revolves around cost.
And then MSBA will look at dollars and decide, is it worth spending $120 million to remodel a high school that's too big for the city of Fall River? It'll continue to be too big. We've got the potential of 2 charter high schools. Bishop Conley's enrollment's up. Diamond's enrollment's up. So the options are, that chances are we're not going up in enrollment. We'll go down in enrollment or stay even. So I don't think they really want to build the high school that we have, rebuild it. And then you still have components of it that will be 40 years old. So I think that there may be a compromise, some kind of hybrid where we keep an auditorium, we keep the field house, gymnasium, swimming pool area, and then build something in between it. Or it may be a case where we only keep one of those items and, knock down everything else, or maybe just a new construction from scratch and knock everything down.
Meanwhile, Greater Fall River Chamber of Commerce and Industry President and CEO Rob Mellion says the chamber does not support remodeling the current Durfee High School. He tells FRCmedia News there's good reason to build a brand new one.
If we are ever going to sell going to college to our students, and if we're ever going to sell aspiration towards something better to our students, then we've got to get them into the best possible facilities. And we have to get them into an environment where they will excel, not in an environment where they're worried about staying warm, an environment where they're worried about staying dry, because that building leaks, that building has so many code violations, you can't even count them. And we need to do something for them, a statement to our students that we are all behind their success, and that's what a new school will do, just like it happened in Somerset. You walk into that new school in Somerset, and it just lifts you up. It makes you want to do something better, and it affects people in business when they walk in. It affects the students. It affects the teachers. It affects the parents, and that's exactly what we need here in Fall River.
A design company is expected to be hired by the start of the new year. In all, a new Durfee high school will cost approximately $228 million. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
So this is Gunner. Gunner is a pit bull mix. And as you can see, he's very excited. He loves his belly wrap. This dog will get along with everybody. You can see he's shaking, he's a little nervous. But he's not aggressive at all. He just wants somebody to bring him home so he can be happy and he can be happy. Touch him. See, if you touch him, you can play with him, you can do anything. He loves pop. He likes hugs. This is Druid. Druid is 5 years old. Druid is a domestic short-haired cat. And he was brought into us with major eye problems. You can see that his eye sockets look pretty deep. But he just had his surgery a couple of weeks ago. From the day before he had his surgery, he was very lethargic and he slept all the time. This cat is a totally different cat. He plays, he's always been a lover. He loves to be pet, he doesn't mind being handled. And he likes to play with toys, so we actually got him to play with some toys. He's the best cat. He's just so laid back, he's so easy to get along. He loves everybody and everything. I've never seen him growl or hiss or anything. He is just amazing. And he needs a good home. And he's ready here at Forever Paws, 300 Linwood in Fall River.
FRC Media News caught wind that numerous Fall River residents were having trouble purchasing large purple trash bags because the stores that generally carry them ran out too fast. Mayor Jazio Correa did not dispute this fact.
We looked into that. We were monitoring those complaints, and that is true. In fact, it happened to my own mother. She went to 2 different CVS's, couldn't find the bags, and then eventually found them at the 3rd store that she went to. That's a problem. We addressed that with Waste Zero. That's not the city's. We can't control that supply chain. This is the stores have to put it in order. If they don't, and they don't put it in time, then the company Waste Zero doesn't send out the bags. So we have addressed that. We've worked with Waste Zero on that issue. It was something that came to our attention. We made sure that it was accurate information, and we address it. So there shouldn't be as much of a problem, if any problem, going forward, and they beefed it up because of the holidays as well.
Community College was the site of a tech-savvy event designed for middle and high school regional students. Donna Mata spoke with Associate Dean of STEM Initiatives, Megan Abella Bowen, who provides more information.
I'm Donna Mata, and I'm here at Bristol Community College to talk about the VEX Robotics practice session that was held over the weekend here at BCC. Megan, why don't you tell us first how the practice went and what the program is about?
It was a great success. We had 20 teams compete from about 9 schools in our region, and the program is VEX Robotics is part of a program that's happening nationwide, and it's a way to get more of our middle school, our high school, and even our college kids involved in robotics and letting them know that they can get involved from whatever level they're in. So it's designed to be easy entry level, but the level of competition can rise and rise and rise depending on how engaged the students get.
Now, I understand that they have 2 minutes to perform, so to speak.
Yes, so it is 2 minutes. It's 15 minutes of what we call our autonomous portion, where they actually have to program the robot to do something, and during that time, they can't touch the robot. It runs on its own. And then it goes into 1 minute and 45 seconds, where they're competing as 2 teams against 2 other teams, and that's where all the major action plays, and that's where they're actually driving the robots.
Now, the practice is behind us. What happens now?
So now the big event is coming on Saturday, January 7th. That is the Southeastern regional VEX competition. This will be our second one that we've held here at BCC, and we're expecting anywhere between 25 and 30 teams to be coming, and they could be representing teams not only in our region, but we could be picking up teams from Rhode Island, we could be picking up teams from Connecticut, and even North Shore. So we're very excited.
Very good. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
For FRC Media News, I'm Donna Mata.
That'll do it for this edition of FRC Media News. You can catch FRC Media News Thursdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. and always online 24/7 at frcmedianews.org. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great week. We'll see you next Thursday.